What if everything you think you know about problems is backwards? What if you don't have problems, but problems have you? Arabi, the greatest mystic of medieval Islam, discovered something that completely inverts our understanding of difficulty and suffering. He realized that what we call problems are actually divine teachers, sent specifically to awaken parts of ourselves we never knew existed. But here's the mind-bending part. Once you understand this truth, your problems don't just get easier to solve. They transform into doorways to wisdom you could never access any other way. To understand this revolutionary perspective, we need to go back to 12th century Spain, where a young scholar named Arabi was beginning his spiritual journey. Born in 1165 in what is now southeastern Spain, Arabi grew up during a time of incredible intellectual and spiritual ferment. This was the golden age of Islamic civilization in the West, where scholars, mystics, and philosophers were pushing the boundaries of human understanding. But Arabi's path to wisdom wasn't smooth. As a young man, he faced what seemed like insurmountable obstacles. His family struggled financially. His early teachers rejected some of his ideas. He experienced profound spiritual crises that left him questioning everything he thought he knew about reality. By conventional standards, Arabi's early life was filled with problems. But then something extraordinary happened. Instead of seeing these difficulties as obstacles to overcome, Arabi began to perceive them as teachers. He started to notice that every major challenge in his life had led to a breakthrough in understanding. Every crisis had opened a door to wisdom that had previously been closed. Every problem had revealed a strength or insight he never knew he possessed. This led Arabi to one of the most profound realizations in the history of human thought. He understood that problems don't happen randomly. They're not punishments or accidents or unfortunate circumstances that we have to endure. Instead, problems are precise spiritual instruments, designed by divine intelligence to activate dormant potentials within our consciousness. In his masterwork, The Meccan Revelations, Arabi explains this concept using what he calls the doctrine of divine names. According to Arabi, ultimate reality expresses itself through countless divine qualities: mercy, wisdom, power, beauty, justice. These are not just abstract concepts, but living forces that shape every moment of existence. Here's where it gets profound. Arabi taught that each person embodies a unique combination of these divine qualities. But most of these qualities remain dormant throughout our lives because we never encounter the circumstances that would activate them. We have potentials for courage that we never discover because we never face real danger. We have capacities for compassion that remain hidden because we never encounter genuine suffering. We have wells of wisdom that stay untapped because we never face situations that demand deep understanding. This is where problems come in. According to Arabi, what we call problems are actually divine qualities manifesting in ways that seem challenging or uncomfortable. But their real purpose is not to harm us. Their purpose is to call forth corresponding qualities within us that would otherwise remain forever dormant. Think about this differently. When you face a situation that requires tremendous patience, that situation is not randomly testing you. It's specifically designed to awaken and strengthen the divine quality of patience within your own being. When you encounter something that demands courage, that challenge is calling forth the latent courage that already exists within you but has never been activated. Arabi called this process divine education through opposition. He understood that divine qualities often awaken through encountering their apparent opposites. Patience emerges through impatience. Courage develops through fear. Wisdom grows through confusion. Peace deepens through conflict. But here's what makes Arabi's insight so revolutionary. He realized that this isn't just a nice way of thinking about problems. It's actually how reality works. From his perspective, there are no random events, no meaningless suffering, no arbitrary difficulties. Everything that happens is part of an intelligent design aimed at the complete development of human potential. This doesn't mean that Arabi was naive about suffering. He experienced plenty of it himself. Throughout his life, he faced persecution for his ideas, exile from his homeland, and the loss of beloved teachers and friends. But he understood that even the most painful experiences were serving a deeper purpose. In his writings, Arabi often uses the metaphor of polishing a mirror. He explains that divine qualities exist within every human being, like a perfect mirror that has become covered with dust and tarnish. Problems are the polishing cloth that divine wisdom uses to restore the mirror to its original clarity. The polishing process might feel uncomfortable or even painful, but without it, the mirror would never reflect its true nature. But Arabi went even deeper than this. He realized that the very concept of having problems is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of identity. Most people think of themselves as separate individuals who encounter external challenges. But Arabi understood that this separation is an illusion. From his perspective, what we call ourself is actually a unique expression of the same divine reality that creates what we call our problems. We are not separate from the challenges we face. We are intimately connected to them at the deepest level of reality. This is why Arabi said that problems don't belong to us. Instead, we belong to them. This might sound abstract, but it has profound practical implications. When you truly understand that a problem has chosen you, rather than you having chosen the problem, your entire relationship with difficulty transforms. Instead of feeling victimized by circumstances, you begin to feel honored by them. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" Instead of trying to escape or eliminate problems, you begin to collaborate with them. Arabi, I taught that this shift in perspective is not just psychologically helpful, it's spiritually essential. He believed that every human being has a unique spiritual destiny, a particular combination of divine qualities that they are meant to develop and express. But this destiny can only be fulfilled through encountering the specific challenges that will activate these latent potentials. This is why Arabi emphasized that no two people face identical challenges. Your problems are specifically designed for you, calibrated to awaken the particular qualities that exist within your unique spiritual makeup. Someone else's problems couldn't serve the same function for you, and your problems couldn't serve the same function for someone else. This understanding completely transforms how we approach difficulty. Instead of comparing our challenges to others or wishing we had different problems, we begin to appreciate the precision with which our particular difficulties are designed. We start to see that our problems are not obstacles to our spiritual development. They are the very means through which that development occurs. But Arabi also understood that this perspective shift doesn't happen automatically. It requires what he called spiritual vision, or seeing with the eye of the heart rather than the eye of the head. The eye of the head sees only the surface appearance of things. It perceives problems as unwanted intrusions that need to be eliminated. But the eye of the heart sees the deeper reality. It perceives the divine wisdom operating through every circumstance. Developing this spiritual vision, according to Arabi, is one of the most important aspects of spiritual growth. It requires learning to trust that there is always a deeper intelligence. At work, even in situations that seem chaotic or meaningless, it means cultivating the patience to look for the hidden gift within every challenge. It involves developing the humility to admit that our surface understanding might be incomplete. Arabi also taught that this process of divine education continues throughout our entire lives. Just when we think we've learned everything we need to know, new challenges arise to activate deeper levels of potential. Just when we've developed certain qualities, new situations emerge to refine and strengthen them further. There is no point at which we graduate from the school of divine education. The learning continues as long as we are alive, but perhaps the most beautiful aspect of Arabi's teaching is his understanding of how this process serves not just individual development, but the development of the whole human community. He believed that each person's spiritual growth contributes to the spiritual evolution of humanity as a whole. When you allow your problems to awaken divine qualities within you, you're not just helping yourself. You're adding those qualities to the collective treasury of human wisdom and compassion. This means that your struggles serve a purpose far greater than your personal development. Every time you choose patience over anger, you strengthen the quality of patience in the world. Every time you respond to fear with courage, you add to the total amount of courage available to humanity. Every time you find wisdom in confusion, you contribute to the collective understanding of truth. Arabi taught that this is why we shouldn't try to eliminate all problems from our lives or from the world. Problems are not mistakes that need to be corrected. They are features of reality that serve essential functions. The goal is not to escape from challenges, but to understand them, learn from them, and allow them to fulfill their intended purpose. This doesn't mean that we should passively accept harmful situations or avoid taking action to improve our circumstances. Arabi was very clear that part of spiritual development involves learning to respond wisely and effectively to challenges. But the key is understanding that the external solution to a problem is often less important than the internal transformation that the problem is designed to produce. For example, if you're facing financial difficulties, the external solution might involve finding new sources of income or reducing expenses. But the deeper purpose of the challenge might be to activate qualities like resourcefulness, gratitude for what you have, or trust in divine providence. The external solution is important, but it's the internal development that has lasting value. Arabi also understood that this perspective helps us respond to problems with much greater effectiveness. When you're fighting against a problem, seeing it as an enemy to be defeated, you're actually working against the very intelligence that created the situation for your benefit. But when you align yourself with the deeper purpose of the challenge, you gain access to wisdom and resources that weren't available when you were in opposition mode. This is why Arabi often spoke about the importance of surrender. But he didn't mean passive resignation. He meant intelligent cooperation with the forces that are working for your highest development. When you understand that your problems are actually divine teachers, you can surrender to their teaching while still taking appropriate action to address them. The practical implications of this understanding are enormous. It means that every difficulty you face is actually an opportunity to discover capabilities you never knew you had. Every crisis is a chance to develop qualities that will serve you for the rest of your life. Every problem is a doorway to wisdom that can only be opened from the inside. Most importantly, Arabi's teaching offers a completely different relationship with uncertainty and change. Instead of fearing what challenges might come next, you can trust that whatever arises will be perfectly designed to support your continued growth. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by the complexity of life, you can appreciate the intelligence that orchestrates every detail for your benefit. This doesn't mean that life becomes easy or that problems stop feeling difficult, but it does mean that you stop feeling victimized by circumstances. You begin to feel supported by them, even when that support comes in uncomfortable forms. You start to recognize that you are not alone in your struggles. You are being guided, taught, and developed by a wisdom far greater than your own got, as Arabi discovered 8 centuries ago. When you truly understand that problems don't belong to you, but you belong to them, everything changes. You stop trying to escape from your difficulties and start learning to dance with them. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances and start recognizing yourself as a student in the greatest school ever created. You stop asking why problems happen and start asking what they're trying to teach you. And in that shift from resistance to recognition, from opposition to collaboration, you discover that your problems weren't your problems at all. They were always your teachers, your guides, your most devoted servants in the grand project of becoming who you were always meant to be.